Hello, everybody, and welcome back to, I guess it's not our podcast anymore. What do we call this now? Is it like a YouTube channel? Like, what is it?
Well, I think we should worry about getting more than 10 viewers, maybe get everybody in the league to watch the video before we worry about giving this shit a name. So,
We got 10 viewers.
nine, I think last time I checked, but I may have been like two or three of those. So I think that's pretty good though. We at least had, maybe half the league watch it. So I think we're at a pretty good spot right now.
Yeah, we at least had somebody coming out to watch. I mean, dang. Come on, guys. Go out there, watch these. The rest of you guys that aren't, you don't know
Nobody
what
liked the link in the chat, but JJ said he watched it. So shout out JJ, our high scorer of the week.
JJ, you the man. All right. Well, welcome to our week 3. We're going to quickly do a little review from last week. First team that let's look up. We had the money team. They just outmatched the Nightman Cometh. They went up to 2-0. Nightman Cometh, they dropped down to 0-2. But I mean, there's nothing really anything could have done on this. He started Derek Carr over Aaron Rodgers. That was the right call. And yeah, I mean, it's just a sound beating. Good job to Tyler. I hope that luck continues. And looks like we got to turn some things around. Rough time on that one. Next one up, we've got the Suicide Pack going up against Team Philly Special. It was a good matchup, I thought, of just two high-scoring teams. But Michaels just had the week. I mean, with Lamar Jackson with that 42 points, even with Jonathan Taylor shit in the bed, Stephon Diggs stepped up. Just a really solid week for Michael. He is definitely becoming more of a contender, but I mean, there's just nothing much Suicide Pack could have done. But I mean, he's definitely still not out. I mean, West has got so much talent still on the bench and everything, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think with Michael's team, it's pretty showing that AJ Brown and Jonathan Taylor didn't really do anything this week, and everybody is poised to pop off on that team. Miles Sanders looks as good as any year he's had in the NFL so far this year. I think so. He's running with a purpose. He needs a new contract, which I hope he doesn't get personally, but I still think he looks the best he's ever looked this year. So look for Miles Sanders to maybe make some big strides later in the year.
He did. He looked absolutely great in that game. And I was just like, I didn't really see Stephon Diggs. I kept seeing they kept scoring touchdowns. I saw a Titans team that just looked absolutely pitiful. But yeah, I mean, he did look very, very good. Everyone on the Eagles looked really good last night. I mean,
it was incredible. And also, I just want to say, I don't know how good the Call of Duty is this year, but Kyler Murray looked incredible. He single-handedly won that game. And there's a pretty good video with him running around with the yakety sacks in the back of him on that 2-point conversion late in the game. Kyler Murray, if he usually starts out pretty hot and then tails off at the end of the year. But if he can keep this up, it's been an excellent start for him so far.
Yeah, I agree. And Eagles just did a great job. On to our next matchup on that too, though, because I know we're going to go back to the Eagles here in a second. Pepe Silvia's picks versus official Kitten Mittens. Wow, talk about two teams that just were really, neither one of them deserve a win. I'm just going to say that. Neither one of them really deserve a win. I'm a little bitter about this because I've outscored both these teams both weeks in a row. I outscored 6 teams in our league, and I'm still 0-2. So I'm bitter about this, to say the least. But, kudos to William on the win here. For Marshall, you had some weird starts, man. Like, who the hell puts Robbie Anderson over Michael Thomas? Like, what? What?
Yeah, I think it was pretty impressive that Michael Thomas did so well last week, and Robbie Anderson finally hit on that deep ball. The only time Robbie Anderson ever produces is when he hits a huge bomb, and he hit it week 1 with Baker. So Marshall tried to roll with that again, and Robbie Anderson just showed his true colors. And with your brother, man, William, Alvin Kamara started, no points, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, that auto draft, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to be the receiver for the Lions this year. In the Lions offense, I don't know how their defense is going to be or how the team is going to compete, especially in the NFC North, but Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think, is going to be their top receiver going forwards, and he's got the right players in Denver with Javonte Williams and Cortland Sutton. Darnell Mooney, anybody on the Bears, I just want to light on fire and throw in the trash, but
Yeah.
hey, a win's a win, just like your 2 losses are 2 losses.
Yeah, I know. And the thing that's more annoying is I'm pretty sure William has not even – I don't think he's even looked at this team. I mean, he didn't pull Kamara out, and everyone knew he wasn't going to play. He's got, like, all these people that I swear to God he hasn't even looked at this, and he's still doing better than me. That's bullshit. It's just absolute bullshit. But, I mean, going back to it again.
Hey, hit me up. See what do you trade me for Kamara? Hit me up. Hit me up, Lou.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure. You're going to give him a great deal. What, 3 first-round picks and Kamara for what?
Maybe 4 first-round picks.
Well, yeah, I mean, finishing up with this matchup, Carson Wentz, he should have started him over Matthew Stafford. I know Wentz is kind of hard to trust, but he has been consistent in the first two games. He defeated his Jaguar nemesis, and he's up against the Giants this week, and I think that would be a good matchup to definitely start him
He's
because
playing against the Eagles. Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz is playing against the Eagles this week.
Oh, that's right. It's the Cowboys Giants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, you know what? I don't know if I like him in that matchup. That'll be interesting.
Carson Wentz, he breaks a lot of hearts. He plays with them, he breaks them. He kills a lot of ducks too.
Yikes. But yeah, kudos to William on that. Congratulations. And then we go to the Gang Plays Fantasy up against Wildcard Bitches. This was just a complete stomping. I believe he scored nearly twice as many points. He still has Tua, who scored 40 points on his bench. There's really nothing that Thomas could have done. And what's funny is Cam Akers, his first overall pick, who he chose not to start this week, outscored nearly everybody on his team except for Aaron Jones. So
it was a good week for Aaron Jones. He got in the end zone twice.
Probably won't have to.
He's the only consistent weapon that Aaron Rodgers is going to have to throw to. Yes. I know a lot of the wide receivers, they're gonna get points here and there, but they all suck. They're all trash. Who's their second running back now? I don't even remember. He's been doing great. He's been getting all the carries, but Aaron Jones will still be a good receiving back, and the lack of the receivers will keep Aaron Jones getting points. So
yeah, last week AJ Dillon popped off, and he had the majority of the points, and Aaron Jones didn't.
That's his name.
Yeah. But no, Aaron Jones definitely had it. And good luck with trying to start Patterson and getting consistent play out of him. I don't believe it. He had Judy, who got hurt almost immediately. He had Smith-Schuster, who didn't do anything really either. It's going to be a long year. It's going to be a very long year for Thomas. But don't worry, I'm going to be right there with you. I think we play each other twice, and I think I give you at least one win a year. So it's coming full circle, big guy. It's coming full circle. Next up, we got Boyle Denham versus Fat Mac, and this was pretty awful matchup. I'm not going to lie. Thank God for Jalen Hurts, am I right?
Yeah, thank God for Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, I'm a big skeptic, not in fantasy. I'm not a big fantasy skeptic of Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts had his best game ever in the NFL last night, and he looked incredible. He was running everywhere. He always takes every single rushing touchdown. He never wants to throw it to anybody in the red zone. He doesn't want to hand off to his running backs. He'll take every point for himself, but he looked like the stud. He looked like the real deal last night. And as far as the matchup goes, Josh had everything against him happen that could have possibly happened, and I still couldn't pull it out. So shout out to my two running backs, Derrick Henry and Najee Harris. Both running backs are trash. I'm going to put out trade calls to anybody in the league. You want to trade for these guys? Hit me up. I don't believe in either of the offenses. If you do, show me what you're worth and send me a trade offer. Pretty please.
I'm just saying, I have one running back who outscored both of them this week together. So, possibly.
That's pretty good. Shout out to Devontae Smith actually getting some catches, some points.
But he was low this week, too, only 7.2 as well. I mean, your top three guys were pretty low, which stinks. For example, Devontae Smith actually outscored him, which is nuts. And we were going back and forth on who to start between Adam Thielen and Devontae Smith. That was clearly the right pick to go with. Michael Carter, this week he did not have the better side of things. Last week he did. But Amari Cooper on the bench, I was very surprised to see that 16 points from him, just because I really just don't believe in Teddy Bridgewater right now. Or not Teddy Bridgewater, Brissett right now. And I think that, it's the same guy. Come on now.
Yeah.
I don't believe that he's going to do anything. So the impressive.
Well, who else is he going to throw to? I think Amari Cooper is the best person to throw to on that team, right? That's what I'm going to be banking on when I keep starting Amari Cooper in my flexes at this point going forward.
Jones. Last week, he targeted Amari Cooper one time last week and went to Donovan Peoples-Jones the entire game. So we'll see. It's not going to be consistent. Until they have a legit quarterback in there, it's not going to be consistent. It just won't be. I like that you have Sammy Watkins on your bench, though, because I think that's really, really – that was a good little pickup. 9 points, pretty steady there. So there was a little bit left on the bench, but to your point we talked about before, Buccaneers, that big 25 on their bench, that definitely could have swung some stuff. 2 weeks in a row, Josh has started Kittle, who has not been even available really to play, and still won. You cocky son of a bitch, how dare you?
But, yeah, happy belated birthday to Josh, and I think that's just a flex on him. I think he's just trying to flex on us, and he's on a collision course with Michael right now. Him, Michael, maybe Wes and JJ. swirling in the background, but those top four teams, they're ready for a big collision course, and Josh is going to need to start players that actually play when it comes to those matchups, not just what he does to get by me.
Yeah, and I mean, he started Allen Robinson at the right time. That was a good start right there. Of course, he had to since Michael Pittman was out, but he is very thin on running back. So it will be interesting to see the rest of the year how he kind of bolsters that. And to finally wrap things up, we've got Boy Soul and we've got Rickety Cricket.
Great.
This could have went a lot of different ways. We were working with Kelsey on between Melvin Gordon, Alan Lazard, and I think David Montgomery was the three that we were talking about on who to start. We both agreed to bench Montgomery. Of course, he does well. And then there's Rashad Bateman on the bench as well that could have thrown some stuff different ways. But Jalen Waddle is an automatic start at this point because, I mean, he's just absolutely killing it. Tom Brady, I think, is going to be worth 10 points every week. I don't expect anything great from him anymore. I think he's a very consistent 10 to 15-point person. But, yeah, I mean, James Conner still really hasn't shown up much. Melvin Gordon's being consistently around 5 points. I'm surprised DJ Moore did as well as he did, but I'm not a fan of him either. And Al Lazard did not he wasn't quite he did fine, but he wasn't quite the big receiver we were looking for from him.
I mean, I agree and disagree with you on a lot of those points. I think Tom Brady has nowhere to go but up. He still has the most wide receivers in the league. He's won his first two games. I don't think he's going to do anything but produce better than what he's produced against. He's done nothing against the Saints in his whole Buccaneers career. As the team goes on, as more injuries happen, I think Tom Brady's only going to go up. I think that shout out to Kelsey for having the worst injury luck so far in the year. She's had her two starting running backs go out in the first 2 weeks with James Conner and Elijah Mitchell. So shout out Kelsey with the worst injury luck so far. And as far as Jack's team goes, I just want to say that I really like the pick of Logan Thomas, and I just believe in Logan Thomas as a tight end. He was a shitty quarterback. In his 1 week when he was tabbed as a starter his rookie year as the Cardinals, it took like 2 days of practice before they benched him. But even coming off the injury, I think Logan Thomas is a great play for the rest of the year. And how do you feel about trading Clyde Edwards-Helaire away and seeing him do so well the first 2 weeks in that Andy Reid offense?
I'm totally fine with it because I think it'll go straight downhill. I feel like he does this every year. The first 4 weeks, he's really good, and then it's like straight downhill. But again, if you're good the first 4 weeks and you get 4 wins, it's worth it. I was more upset about the Tony Pollard incident because, I mean, I know last week he didn't necessarily have the greatest points, but the Cowboys had like no offense. But this week, that 15.8, I think that's going to be a little bit more consistent. I think he's going to work in that starting lineup. It was smart for Jack to get Jeff Wilson, the San Francisco running back, and start him in there. That was a good point right there. But what really carried him this week was the Bills' defense 100%. I think the Bills' defense, absolutely, that was, that could have went a lot of different ways, but going up against such a shitty team that Tennessee is being, like, that definitely catapulted that in the right direction. And I didn't realize James Conner got hurt. How serious was that?
I think he's only questionable so far for next week, but you know how that stuff's going to have. They have a couple other running backs who came in, did all right. I just I just don't believe that he's going to be. I mean, I believe in him as a player. It's just funny to see. And rest in peace to Kelsey.
Yeah,
Same thing with Jeff Wilson. He'll be fine for a couple weeks, but then his leg will snap off, and they'll have 4 more running backs before the end of the year. That's just how it goes in San Francisco.
Yeah, and I've never really believed in Arizona running back as long as Kyler Murray is there, just because I feel like he runs so much and goes for it, and I've just never been a big fan of that. I think last year James Conner had a great year and everything went well, but eh. But yeah, that's our week. That's our week 2 recap of everything, and after week 2. We have a perfect split, and we had this happen last year too. We have 4 teams that are 2-0, 4 teams that are 1-1, and 4 teams that are 0-2. And if you go to the percentage of playoff right now, it goes, the worst percentage is Thomas, and the second worst is myself. But the almost like surefire ones, which of course we kind of talked about earlier, was Fat Mac with 83%. And Team Philly Special was 79%. Obviously, this is kind of bullshit numbers and stuff like that, but I love to see that after just losing 2 games and having all the picks that I did, I'm already at an 18% chance of making the playoffs. Wah, 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 wah. But it is what it is. So on to week 3. Congratulations on your week 2. But let's see what else we have coming up. The first matchup I have is myself versus Team Philly Special, which is supposed to be nearly a 40-point beatdown from Michael to myself. But I don't know, man. How do you feel about Russell Wilson at San Francisco? I think that's a decent matchup. I also got Carson Wentz against the Eagles. That would be an interesting matchup as well. Of course, my Mike Evans is suspended, so that's going to be tough to do. But and then Cleveland against Pittsburgh, I always think is a really, really tough matchup for us because I feel like anytime we're on a primetime game, that's Cleveland, they just shit the bed. And especially against the Steelers, they just shit the bed. Last year, if they would have just beat the Steelers in their last primetime game, they would have actually made it to the fucking playoffs, and they couldn't do it. So it was just like, just whatever, just done with it. But
Just start Kenny Pickett already. Just put the tiny hands in the game. Just put him in.
yeah,
Don't come on, Tomlin. Don't
yeah,
stop it with Trubisky. Just put in Kenny Pickett, get Najee Harris the ball, and stop jerking me around.
stop jerking me around. Now I will say this. It would be really interesting to see. Eagles just came off a great game. Everything was good. They look like playoff contenders for sure. This will be a very interesting game because obviously both teams really, really want this. But I don't know. This is going to be a fun matchup. I'm very excited to see that. What is this? This is a 1 o'clock game on Sunday? Yeah. Where the Browns.
Yeah, I think Carson Wentz is going to have a lot of yards, and it's just a matter of how many picks and how many fumbles he has.
Absolutely is. He always has a lot of yards, and he usually has a good amount of touchdowns. It just depends how many interceptions and fumbles that he has. That's 100% right. But yeah, I mean, I think this is I'm going to give myself the underdog on this, and I think I'm going to take it. But obviously, Michael's projected to just absolutely blow me out of the water. And with Lamar Jackson, Jonathan Taylor, I mean, it's pretty hard to argue that case. Pretty damn hard to argue. I would definitely say that. The next one we've got is William Pepe Sylvia's picks versus the money team. This is another just weird matchup, in my opinion, too. I mean, you've got Patrick Mahomes with Indianapolis, but I mean, I think he's easily do well there. Javonte Williams up against San Francisco. I mean, they really technically should do well. Minnesota's defense we saw was just complete trash. So, like, Detroit should do well in that. But then again, Barkley could go off on the Giants on that. I mean, I don't know. What do you think? I mean, it's a couple of interesting matchups right there, don't you think?
Yeah, I think Barkley is going to continue his revenge tour of trying to single-handedly carry the Giants offense to a 3-0 record. That would be hilarious
Oof.
if they went 3-0 off the back of Saquon Barkley. But just looking at it straight up, matchup to matchup, I think I'm going to have to give it to the money team to start 3-0 in the new league. And I'm very interested to see how Tyler plays Derek Carr versus Aaron Rodgers going forward. As a Devontae Adams owner, I was pretty pissed at Derek Carr. I think he threw it almost like once or twice to Devontae Adams in the first half, and that resulted in a touchdown. And he missed a couple of very big potential plays to Devontae Adams later on in the game. So it'll be interesting to see with Derek Carr, his balance of him being a suck-ass quarterback versus Aaron Rodgers being a great quarterback with no weapons. So we'll see how Derek Carr does with his weapons versus Aaron Rodgers without his weapons, and I'm pretty interested in that. And also Antonio Gibson. I heard a lot of smack before Antonio Gibson coming into this year, but until they're proven otherwise in this league, if you have a running back that's as good as Antonio Gibson has been in his past couple years and in week 1 and 2, you just ride that guy until he doesn't give you any more points.
Yeah, and something too funny. When I was playing Tyler last week and he had Cooper Kupp, there was 2 minutes left in the first half. And I was like, okay, Cooper Kupp's got 0 points. That's good. If we can just keep that going and he has very minimal, maybe he gets like a 7-8 point game, like I've got a good chance. And with 2 minutes left, he ended up getting like 40 yards and a touchdown. And so immediately he went up to 10 points. And I was like, seriously? Like if he did that in 2 minutes left with the first half, how's this going to go? And of course, it just kept going up and up and up. That Cooper Kupp weapon that is so big, that is so versatile. I mean, it could be anywhere from a 10 to a 30-point person right there. So for Tyler's team, I think that's huge, especially up against Arizona. That defense I didn't think was too great, but that's going to be a great matchup, I think, as well as the Rams versus Arizona on that. Freiermuth has done great, I think, so far this year, too. I think that's going to be a nice little against Cleveland. I think he's right there. I'm still not a fan of Ayuk. Is that how you say his name? I can't remember.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not a fan of that. I don't think that's going to be a great matchup. I don't think he does a great receiver-wise. And with Jimmy G there, I think it's an improvement on the team. And I think even 49ers fans would say that's an improvement on the team. But I don't know. And then you go look at Tyler's bench. He's got a lot of stuff that he's got to work on, in my opinion. James Cook, I think, is droppable. I think Raheem did okay this past week. Olave, how would you say?
I think it's Olave.
Olave. He did well, and I think he's got a lot of potential. McKinnon, I don't know. Jalen Tolbert, I don't know. I thought McKinnon did get that one touchdown. But I think he's got a lot of room that he could work with on his bench for sure. It'll be interesting to see if William even changes up his lineup, if he'll take Kamara out, if he plays or not, if he'll take Darnell Mooney out, maybe put Garrett Wilson, who had 22 points because the Jets are a bunch of thieves. Yeah, I mean, it'll be very interesting to see if he even changes that up at all. And I think right now, Tyler's projected to win. I think he'll easily get that, but I don't know. It'll be an interesting.
I, I like Pepe's bench right there. I really like that bench. Jamal Williams, Kenny Gainwell, Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker, I think, is going to be a sneaky look ahead for the later part of this year.
You know what I'm finding out is I feel like auto drafting is almost in a way better because I feel like you get certain players that, like, at first when I looked at both Michael and Billy's team, I was like, I really don't like either one of them. But then I slowly like how week 1 and week 2's gone. I'm like, oh, wow, they've got some good depth. Like, oh, wow, this has actually worked out better than I thought. And I feel like I see that every year with somebody who auto drafts and like it turns out like, oh, wow, they actually have like a pretty decent lineup of stuff. Just shows how bad.
Yeah, computer versus a bunch of
Yeah,
dumbasses.
exactly. So next, we got official kit mittens versus team suicide pack. Sorry, Marshall. I think you're going to join me in the 0-3 pool, but Wes, I think is easily should be able to get this. No doubt. I mean, I feel like no doubt. What do you think?
I think if Marshall switches out Robbie Anderson for Michael Thomas, I would consider playing Carson Wentz this week. And I think Dalvin Cook is going to bounce back. The Eagles totally stuffed up Dalvin Cook last night. With a player as good as Dalvin Cook, I think he's got nowhere to go but up. And we'll see how Wes's team does. But his team is just loaded right now. It's just a matter of how good of a week Kyler has with Call of Duty, and if Derek Carr can get Darren Waller the ball, or he's just going to throw it into the ground, or whatever he wants to do with that.
Yeah.
I also might want to consider starting AJ Dillon in that flex position versus Drake London. Having anybody from Atlanta kind of scares me.
And that definitely will be interesting to see that. I know a big thing too, I feel like, is he's got a lot of like injuries. He doesn't have Carson Wentz anymore. He has traded that to me for Chase Edmonds. So he has that as a weapon to use. But Hollywood Brown, I think, is a lock. I feel like he's always just going to do well with that. But Michael Thomas definitely has to get back to that starting lineup. Khalil Herbert, I feel like, can definitely surprise you from time to time. You know what I mean? So I got to give it to Wes. I know obviously he's the odds-on favorite in a lot of ways this week. But, yeah, I don't see too many favorable matchups for him for it to go any other way. What about you?
Yeah, I'm just thinking about Khalil Herbert and just thinking how I want nothing to do with Khalil Herbert at all.
Um, I don't know. I didn't like him at first, but then he ended up turning out a lot better. So, or at least so far this season. But we'll see how it goes on. Next up, the gang plays fantasy versus Fat Mac, and this is another going to be a wash. I think there's a lot of lopsided ways this week. I feel like with a lot of 2-0 teams going up against a lot of 0-2 teams. So maybe some upset alerts. But Justin Jefferson up against Detroit, I think is just going to be a slobber knock right there. Jamar Chase going up against the Jets. I do think the Jets will pull it out against Chase, or against the Bengals, but that's still a favorable matchup. And who knows? George Kittle might even play this week.
Yeah, that'd be interesting to see if George Kittle plays. And I think Juju Smith-Schuster needs to make a couple more TikToks because I don't see him on the field, and maybe it'd be better to see him on the internet.
Yeah.
I think we need to put a missing persons report out for Kyle Pitts, and damn, I kind of want to trade for Kyle Pitts at this point. Thomas, if you see this, hit me up about Kyle Pitts. Rest in peace, Jerry Jeudy. Chuba Hubbard had a nice -2 points. I don't think he had any plays on offense, and he fumbled the opening kickoff, so that was pretty nice. And DJ Chark had 0 points. That was good. I think Thomas might have to resort to starting 2 tight ends with Dawson Knox and Kyle Pitts.
Yeah. Very smart. On top of that, I don't necessarily trust Patterson every single week. I think Cam Akers is just going to get better on that as well, but he's running into a lot of bad luck. Drafting Mac Jones is a bad mistake. Robert Woods on Tennessee team is just awful. Jerry Jeudy being hurt right now is going to be interesting. But yeah, DJ Chark has not produced. Like you said, Hubbard was out. Dawson Knox is definitely going to be should be a big playmaker for them. But Yeah, and again, going back to Josh, I don't like Ezekiel Elliott there anymore. He's going to have to start looking for, I think, another running back in his place. But with that being said, he is so stacked in receiver that as long as he can fill that with a flex and just have somebody, even if Elliott, I guess, gets just 7 or so points, it's worth it at this time for him.
Yeah, his team's loaded.
Yeah, it is loaded.
Jalen Hurts is going nowhere but up. He looked incredible this
Yeah,
week.
until he gets hurt. What? Like, like,
I don't. I don't know. That's you could say that with anybody in the league. I don't think Jalen Hurts puts himself in very vulnerable positions most of the time. I mean, he runs a lot more physical than a lot of other quarterbacks, but I don't think he ever runs with abandon like someone like Michael Vick does, where you just know he's going to get hurt. And Jalen Hurts is pretty. If anything, he doesn't hang in the pocket too long. He's a little too jumpy and jumps out of the pocket a little too early. So unless Jalen Hurts just has some bad luck, I don't think he's in danger of imminently becoming injured.
Well, you also have Gardner Minshew, and he's a juggernaut himself. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah, he's got a good mustache. I'll give him
Great
that.
mustache.
One of the best backup quarterbacks in the league.
And after that too, we also have Rickety Cricket versus Wildcard Bitches. It's going to be, I think, a lot tighter this week than last week for both of them. I mean, Kelsey was in a tight matchup, but Rashad Bateman in there's good. And she has to do she's going to have to do David Montgomery on that as well. She does.
Yeah, I'm not starting Melvin Gordon. Eventually, Javonte Williams will start getting all the carries in Denver, or maybe they won't with Nathaniel Hackett. But I think Melvin Gordon's a lost cause, and he's just going to be a spot start here and there going from now on.
I'm going to say this: Jahan Dotson. He's got him on his bench. He really doesn't need to start him because he has all these really solid receivers. But Jahan Dotson, I think he's huge. I think he's going to be really, really good. I think already he's had 2 weeks and 3 touchdowns. I think he's super solid. I really want him. I don't have any real means, trade bait or anything like that to get him, but I think he is a solid star that's just resting on a bench somewhere, and he could be in someone's lineup winning them games. But I really am a big fan of him.
I think he's worth looking at the wide receiver 2 or flex week to week based on the matchup.
And you got James on his flex right there, which is a lock in flex with James Robinson. Because, I mean, lately he's only been getting those touchdowns and maybe 50 yards, but that's still enough in your flex anyways. And you have Josh Jacobs.
Well, what's Josh Jacobs done these first 2 weeks?
He hasn't been necessarily the best.
He's got 126 points, the first 126 yards.
Yeah.
The first 2 week, 4 yards a carry. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just upset about all my good players on their team. So anybody on their team, I'm just fucking. I hate the Raiders. I hate the Steelers. I hate the Titans. They can all go pound sand.
Well, Josh Jacobs was not renewed for his I think his 5th year. So I think that's something too. Is I picked up Zamir White because I heard all this big stuff about him. He's yet to really touch the field at all. But I mean, that's one, obviously, a quick replacement if he needed to. But once again, I feel like he has a pretty solid team. And I feel like every single year somehow JJ gets away with a pretty solid team. And then wrap it all up, we got Boy's Soul up against Boiled Denim. I mean, Dan, you should have this. But if you don't, it's just going to make me laugh super hard because that means Derrick Henry and Najee Harris once again shit the bed. But I think Harris against Cleveland, I think he's going to do absolutely great. I think there's going to be a lot of points there. The Titans up against Las Vegas, I think is huge because I think that gives Derrick Henry a lot of opportunity as well because it's been very clear that Las Vegas is not that great. And then again, you got Justin Herbert against Jacksonville. If he can just limp along and just throw tutties like he does, he'll be fine. Especially Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams against the Titans, this should be just an easy walk-in for you. Now, the big question is, are you still going to start Devontae Smith?
Yeah, I got to ride with my boys. I'm riding with my keepers for a couple weeks. I am actively looking to trade anyone on my team, so come at me with offers. But as of right now, unless I find a deal that I really like, I got to roll with my keepers. I spent a lot on trading for Derrick Henry, and I was pretty hyped up for this fearsome foursome, so I'm gonna play him out a couple more weeks.
I would not start Devontae Smith this week. I think that's crazy. I mean, with Sammy Watkins, Adam Thielen really hasn't done shit. I will agree with you on that. And Amari Cooper, but you don't have really a great flex either, I guess.
Yeah, Sammy Watkins is a turd burger. I think last week I think this week was total bullshit, and I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he might if one of the other guys breaks his leg or something. I just don't believe in Sammy Watkins because I know as soon as I start him, he's going to put up point 0.7 points. He's going to have one catch for 7 yards, or maybe he'll have a couple touchdowns called back on penalty. But no analysis behind that. But I liked it during the draft, that potential, and maybe we'll see. I don't know.
It's something to think about too. If there's a guy out there who's looking for a running back, you look at Jack's team. He's got Fournette, he's got Hilaire, he's got Pollard, and then also too, J.K. Dobbins hasn't come back from injury yet, and I think once he does, he's also going to be someone worth looking at. And Jeff Wilson Jr. until Elijah Mitchell is back in there. Jack's pretty loaded at running back, which is pretty funny to think about for someone who originally only had 2 keepers before trading out his first round pick for 2 guys right there, which, I mean, he needed, and Fournette so far has produced. I don't trust him to continue to produce, but he has produced. Pollard,
Promised a touchdown to his fantasy owners on Twitter.
well, I hope that keeps working for him, but I don't know. I don't see it happening. We'll see. We'll see. All right, so who's your upset this week? Out of all these matchups, give me an upset. Who do you think could pull it? Who do you think could possibly pull it?
Give me Rickety Cricket. I think Tyreek Hill had his 30 points this week. I could see Josh Jacobs not putting up a lot of points. Austin Eckler has been here and there. I feel like Austin Eckler is more hype than he is production. I know he's a very versatile running back. And I think Kelsey's due for some luck to swing her way. I think she's had some pretty bad luck here the first couple weeks, and I think that maybe Jalen Waddle keeps it going and Travis Kelce catches a couple touchdowns.
I think that's legit. I mean, Waddle has just been so consistent with it. I absolutely could see that happening. For me, of course, I'm going to go with me because there's absolutely no reason why I should win this week. With Lamar Jackson, Jonathan Taylor, a lot of big scorers. There's really no reason. There's no reason at all I should win this. I'm still going to go with my double-edged giant with Hunt and Chubb, and I don't think that's going to pan out necessarily, but screw it. I think I'm going with it. I'll have to replace Schultz since it looks like he's going to be out this week, and Mike Evans is suspended because he likes to, punch people and shit. But
I like that. I liked it. I liked him coming to the defense of Brady and hitting Lattimore in the face. I really like that in the moment. I think it's worth the game suspension. Personally, if I was a Buccaneers fan, I would have been. I don't know. I don't know if we have any Buccaneers fans in our league, but I was pretty happy about that when I saw it live. It gave me vibes of Jason Peters protecting Nick Foles in Washington a few years ago.
yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I wish you wouldn't have done that just because I could have really used him this week. But it is what it is.
You're gonna start Breece Hall this week? Do you believe in him
No, I think I'm going to go.
against the Bengals?
Nah, dude. Damian Pierce against a shitty Chicago team all the way.
With how pathetic the Bengals have been so far this year, you don't want to start Breece Hall, who just started catching his stride last week?
I mean, I think Breece Hall is going to do great, but I have to pick because I'm going to start both Cleveland running backs. So between Breece Hall and Damian Pierce, I really so much more like Houston up against Chicago than I do Cincinnati the Jets up against Cincinnati. I like both those matchups, but I mean, I just think there's no competition necessary for Pierce because Rex Burkhead, let's face it, he might get a red zone touchdown here or there, but they're really trying to push him more. And Chicago, from what I could tell, was just bad. They just are really, really bad. Now, the Bengals are really bad on offense. I think their defense is, okay, and I think because their offensive line is so bad, it'll give them a little bit of a chance. And do not underestimate Flacco now, because let me tell you, with 2 minutes left, he can score 2 touchdowns and completely ruin your Sunday. Just, from a guy with experience on this. But, yeah.
Well, Joe Flacco was elite at one point. I don't think the Browns have been elite in 70 years, so.
Shut up. Anyway, who's your guaranteed win this week? Who is somebody who you think, absolutely, no matter what, they've got the win? They absolutely have the win.
Fat Mac. I think just with Jalen Hurts and anybody, unless, I don't know, I'm waiting to see Kyle Pitts. I really hope, I was talking to Thomas a lot at the end of last season, how much I loved Kyle Pitts and how much I believe in Kyle Pitts, and I'd be willing to take on Kyle Pitts to prove that. But, yeah, I'm going to go with Fat Mac as my lock of the week.
So let's do something. This is on the spot. each week, let's pick a team that we think is automatic, that we're going to have it for like an automatic win, and almost do like a survivor kind of deal, okay?
What do you mean?
So, we talked about at the beginning, we talked about there's a league that want to do like a survivor thing where each week you pick a team that you think is going to win and you can't repick them later.
Okay.
So for me,
so we're doing that with the teams, or
yeah, so let's do it with the teams. Let's see who can go along with this. For me,
it's too many weeks.
Huh?
Okay.
No,
keep going.
We could both get wrong on this week. I'm gonna say, Dan, I think you got this. I don't think there's any doubt you're gonna win this week.
Yeah, we'll see how many guys they put in the box. How many guys Las Vegas puts in the box versus Derrick Henry, and if Tannehill can throw, maybe they try Malik Willis out, and God, it's just so much pain. It was a fun week of football, but fantasy was a big pain in the ass to watch.
It was awful. Everything was just horrible for me this week, so it was just awful.
Joe Burrow, big week. Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow might slay me this week. I know that everything is looking against the Bengals, but with Joe Burrow's back against the wall, I believe him as much as almost any quarterback in the league, and I think Joe Burrow puts it up at least 30 points this week.
Okay. So which team are you going to
30 points for Joe Burrow.
Which team are you going to go with? You're going to stick with Fat Mac for your automatic, like they're absolutely going to win?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
we're going to go straight through all these games this week and who you think is going to win. Steelers, Browns. Who you got?
Browns.
I'm going to go Browns too because it's me. Texans, Bears.
Bears.
I'm going to go Texans. I don't believe in the Bears. Fuck the Bears. Raiders, Titans. Someone has to win.
Give me the Titans. Come on, Derek.
Yeah, I'm going to hope for Titans.
Derrick Henry, 4 touchdowns, 3 passing out of the Tebow formation. Let's get it done, Tennessee.
Oh, Tebow. All right. Chiefs, Colts.
Chiefs.
Yeah, I think Chiefs easily. Bills, Dolphins, undefeated teams.
I think the Bills beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I think the Bills are.
I think Tua falls apart after his 6 touchdown week.
And Bill,
come at me, JJ, but I think Tua. I still don't think Tua's shit.
Bills are just great. Like they just look so dangerous. If they don't, I mean, they should be excellent. Lions and Vikings.
Give me the Lions.
I'm going to say Lions too. I mean, yeah, Vikings look exposed Monday. I mean, just absolutely exposed. Ravens, Patriots. Ravens. For sure. Bengals, Jets.
Bengals.
Jets.
We'll see about that. That's our big bet of the week.
That is absolutely our big bet of the week. I think Jets are going to get this one. Eagles, Commanders. I say Eagles too. I think it's going to be close, but I think the Eagles got it.
It's going to be pretty
Saints,
close.
Panthers.
Give me the Panthers.
I can't go with the Panthers. Fuck Baker. Fuck their coach. Fuck everything about them. It's Saints all the way. Jaguars, Chargers.
Give me the Chargers.
Yeah, the Chargers easily got this one. They got robbed last week.
I love Dougie P though. I wouldn't be mad if Dougie P got that second win.
I'd support the Jaguars if they won, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Rams, Cardinals.
Cardinals suck. Cardinals. I know the Cardinals had a huge win, and I was talking all about Kyler Murray, but I just don't believe in the Cardinals at all. I just don't believe in them. Give me the Rams.
I think it's going to be a close one, potential overtime one, but yeah, I think I'd go Rams. Falcons, Seahawks. Yeah, someone has to win.
Who's at home?
Seahawks looks like.
Yeah, give me the Seahawks. Well, that's gross.
Yeah, give me the Seahawks too. Buccaneers and Packers. Bucks.
Give me the Packers. I think Rodgers goes off. I think Brady has a nice moment on the sidelines where they go, "Oh, is Brady done?" He keeps freaking out on the sidelines, and then he'll win 6 games in a row. But for this week, give me the Packers.
I feel like it's just going to get to the point where he's just picking up everything and spiking it. Just like, just anger, complete anger. 49ers, Broncos.
Broncos country, let's ride.
I have no faith in the Broncos, and I hope the whole place just blows up.
That's why I'm going with them.
And then Cowboys, Giants.
Give me the Cowboys. There's no way the Giants are going 3-0. There's no chance. If the Giants go 3-0,
Or what? You do what?
That'll be funny. Yeah, I couldn't think of anything.
No, I think the Giants. Everything looks good so far. Honestly, the worst part about the Giants team so far has been the quarterback play with Daniels. It makes you wonder too if they had someone decent there. If they had like an Eli Manning that was kind of like in the middle. Like I would never say Eli Manning in his prime because he never really had a prime unless he was in the playoffs against the Patriots. But like Eli Manning with the least amount of turnovers, they would be really good right now, I think.
I still think they mostly suck.
And they've played bad teams, so don't.
But Danny Dimes is pathetic. I will give you that. He's bad. They need to get rid of him. Actually, I think they should keep him for a couple more years.
Well, they haven't agreed to this 5th year, so he's not going to be there next year. But I don't know. I also think that the coaching there has done absolutely great, and that's something too. At the beginning of the year, I told Dan that Tyrod Taylor was going to start for at least how many games? I think 4 games. And I think as soon as I said that, the next week in preseason, he got hurt and was out. So, rest in peace, Tyrod. Yeah. I don't know. I like the Giants. I think they're going to.
I heard he sued that. He finally sued that doctor.
He should have.
I heard he sued that doctor for puncturing his lung.
What a terrible story.
And then you have Justin Herbert this week walking around playing with broken ribs and all that.
Yeah.
All the chests of the Chargers quarterbacks are in danger with that guy still being employed.
But yeah, so that is our week 2 wrap up. This is our week 3 predictions on some of the ones that we think we can go. If you have some player matchups, if you have who do I start at least 2 out of 3, send it to us. Let us know. Let's all chime in. Let's have some feedback on that. Our advice might be absolutely terrible. It might be okay. It might, it'd be interesting to see how it all turns out. Ask Kelsey. It usually turns out really, really well for her. But sometimes it turns out all right. But no, good wrap up on this week. And now we're going to sign out because guess what? The season's long and full of tears. See you next week.
Talk some smack.